everybody, this is Jordan Riles, and today I am teaching dining etiquette, formal versus informal table setting. So we're starting with our formal table setting, which is more detailed and more intricate, and then we'll go to the informal. With our formal table setting, I'm going to start by explaining to you the dining utensils and how we utilize them, and then I'll go into how we will maneuver through each dish. With our formal dining set, we're going to talk about a 3-course meal. So, as we are eating through our meal, we're always going to start from the outside in. With our spoons, we're going to start with the soup spoon first. And that soup spoon, of course, is for our starter dish. For our starter, we can either have soup or salad. So let's say in this instance, we're having soup. This would be our soup spoon. Our next utensil is going to be our teaspoon, which will be in the middle. And usually at the end of your meal, your waitress or waiter will come around and ask if you want hot tea or hot coffee. Sometimes that cup will be turned upside down. They'll come around and ask. You'll say yes or no, and they'll serve you accordingly. Then we have our dinner knife. On the left, from the outside in, we have our napkin, of course. It's always to our left. We have our salads. So let's say our starter dish is soup or salad. Let's say it's salad. We have our salad fork, and then we have our dinner fork. So from the outside in, starter dish, and then main dish. And then at the top, we have our dessert utensils. And there's a funny story that goes with how I like to explain where these are placed. So let's say our dessert spoon used to be an item or a couple with one of these spoons to the right. Now that spoon is no longer with the teaspoon, and the teaspoon's with the soup spoon, and this spoon does not want to see them together. So her head is turned away and she's at the top. Same situation with the forks. This dessert fork used to be with one of these nice, fine, sharp salad fork or dinner fork. Now they're together. This fork is not together with either one of them, and she or he does not want to see them together. So that's turned away, and that's how I remember it. Another way I remember where everything is set on the table is by one of what my favorite cars used to be, BMW. Bread, this is our bread plate, main dish, and water, BMW. So that's just an overview of placing. Let's start with our drinks. So when you come to your table at a banquet or any formal setting, usually your water cup will have your water in it already, and that's where you start. Then you get to your wine glasses. Now, I'm not a wine connoisseur, but I might be. So with our wine glasses, we have red wine and we have white wine. Now, our red wine glass is usually the one with the larger bowl to it. And why is that? Because our red wine is a darker color, and so it usually has a stronger smell, and that wider bowl allows that smell to diffuse and waft away. So our red wine goes in what's considered the larger bowl. Our white wine will be in the smaller wine glass, and it'll have the smaller rim or the smaller bowl to it. Of course, white wine has a lighter color, and so it should or sometimes will have a lighter scent. And that rim or that bowl is smaller. And so that's your wine, your water, red wine, white wine, and of course your hot tea or hot coffee for the end of your meal. Those are your drinks. Now I'm going to pull my seat in. When we start our meal, we're always going to place our dinner napkin on our lap. And let's say we're starting this meal with soup. We're going to take our soup spoon from the outside, and of course no elbows on the table. We're sitting without our back leaned to the chair. We're sitting up. So with our soup, we're not going to eat it like cereal. We're not going to eat it like any cold meal, but we're going to eat it from inside the bowl. Your spoon is inside. It goes toward the back, and then it comes back to your mouth. And why is that? Because your soup is usually a hot meal, and you want to give that soup time to cool, time to drip back into the bowl. If you need to, you wipe it off on the back of the rim, the back of the bowl, allow it to drip, and then it comes to your mouth. From inside the bowl to the back, wipe it off, allow it to drip into your mouth. It's a back and forth movement. Back and forth movement. So that's your soup. Now let's say our starter dish is not soup, but it's salad. We're going to take our salad fork from the outside on the left, and we're going to eat our salad. And with eating our salad as well as our main dish, we may use our dinner knife and cut through our lettuce and eat. This form of dining is called European because we are cutting our meal with our right hand with the knife in it and eating with our left hand, which has the fork in it. That's European. Now if we cut and we place the utensil back on the charger, which is not something we eat directly off of, once we use a utensil, we don't put it back on the table. So we've cut our meal, and now I'm switching my fork to my right hand and I'm eating an American. So that's eating an American, and that's our starter dish, which would be salad from the outside in. I'm putting them back on for demonstration. So now let's say we are getting to our main dish, and I might start to make you hungry with this. So we have mashed potatoes, string beans, and steak. We are going to use our main dish fork and our knife, and we're going to cut our meat as we go. So cut our meat as we go. And of course, when we were little, when we were smaller, I teach children's etiquette as well as adults, teach it to all ages. But as we were little, our parents would cut up all of our meat for us so that they can enjoy their meal and we can just eat an American. But as adult dining goes, you'll cut your meat as you go and eat it. You may scoop some mashed potatoes on there, cut your string beans up, eat that as you go. That's European. So you're cutting your meat as you go. Now, when it comes to passing salt and pepper, your salt and pepper are always passed together. So if someone asks me to pass the salt, I'm going to pass them the salt and the pepper so that when someone actually needs both of them, we're not searching the table for one or the other. So salt and pepper are always passed together. They're married and they never separate. Another rule of passing, which I should have covered in the beginning, but another rule of passing has to deal with bread. So let's say our bread bowl is at the center of the table and I'm sitting at one head of the table. So this is a rectangular table. You always start passing items like bread or dressing. You offer to the left and then you pass to the right. So a clock goes, clockwise is going in this direction, but we're going to offer to the left and then pass right, counterclockwise. So offer left, pass right, and that's for bread, dressing, butter, which is our butter holder, our butter plate, and that will apply the same for the butter. Offer left and pass right, and then it goes back to the center of the table. And then of course, with our bread, there'll be a butter knife, and bread is something called a finger food. It's considered a finger food. So you can take your bread, pick it up, break it in half with your hands, and butter it as you go. Butter that first half, eat it with your hands. Butter that second half, eat it with your hands. So bread is a finger food, just like chicken fingers and French fries. Sometimes once people start to learn dining etiquette, they start eating their fries and their chicken fingers and bread differently. But finger foods are finger foods, and that's fine. So that's our formal dining. Our formal dining is our starting dish, our main dish, and then our dessert. Again, your napkins in your lap, but let's talk a little napkin etiquette. So with your napkin, when you start your meal, your napkin goes in your lap. When you need to be excused from the meal, where does the napkin go? Does it go in the chair? Does it go on the back of the chair? Does it go over your plate? None of those. It actually goes back to the left where you got it from if you need to be excused. And there's lots of things that we've been taught as time goes on, and I believe it's so that people won't forget. There are ways that people have changed the rule of thumb so that they can better remember it, but that doesn't mean it's always correct. So to start your meal, your napkin's in your lap. To be excused, it goes back to the left. And when you're done, where does your napkin go? Does it go in your chair to let them know that no one's coming back or that you're coming back? Does it go to the left, or does it go over your plate to cover your meal to let them know you're closing out? Well, it goes back to the left. So you're always communicating with the people around you, and that way when the waitress or waiter comes, the guest at your table can let them know this person's coming back or this person's gone, they've left, and that's what excusing yourself from the table is all about. So in your lap to start, to the left to be excused, and to the left to close out. And one final tip, when you're eating your main dish and you are almost done, main dish fork, main dish knife, you're eating in European, another way, which is called silent service, to let the waitress or waiter know that you're done, is that when you are closing out your meal, you'll leave your utensils in your plate at 6 o'clock. That's closing out. When you are being excused, another way as opposed to putting your napkin in your chair or anywhere else that's inappropriate, is that you will actually put your utensils at 3 o'clock. So 3 o'clock means you're not yet done, and 6 o'clock means you're closing out. So that's silent service, and that's another way, and I know it's a lot to remember, and that's why a lot of people change things as they go, but when you are not yet done, it's at 3 o'clock, and when you are done, you close it out and bring them together at 6 o'clock. And that works simultaneously with how you move your napkin and your utensils. So that's our formal table setting. So with our informal setting, we'll just have our water glass, let's say one of our wine glasses, our main dish knife, and our main dish fork. We'll take the dessert utensils away, the bread plate away, and so this is what we're left with: our main dish knife and fork, our main dish plate, our charger, which is never directly eaten off of, our napkin, our water, and our wine glass. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and even share. If you have questions, drop them in the comments, and you can look for virtual sessions with Jordan Riles on etiquette, from dining to fitness and nutrition and more. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Bye.